The clink of my glass against the evening air cut through the hum of my graduation party, a sharp note above the murmur of voices and the strum of a borrowed guitar. I'd rented this Portland backyard. String lights looped over a sagging fence, folding tables groaning with pizza and cheap wine, pouring every spare dime from 5 years of bartending into a night that screamed, I made it. I'm Nora Blake, 24, fresh out of one of Oregon's top engineering programs, a degree I'd clawed from scholarships, late-night study shifts, and coffee runs at dawn. No one handed me this, not family, not luck, just me. So I invited them anyway, hoping, maybe, they'd see it too. They came. Mom, Diane, hovered near the snack table, quiet as always, her graying hair tucked behind her ears, offering a tight smile that said support without words. My aunt and uncle lingered by the cooler, half interested, while cousins darted around with soda cans tied to their wrists like makeshift kites. Then Tom, my dad, rolled in late, a half-drunk IPA in hand, his faded flannel reeking of fish and smugness. Lily, my sister, didn't show, typical, but her shadow loomed anyway. I'd set up a playlist, paid a guitarist with a voice like gravel and honey, wanting this to feel big, a pivot point. It was, just not how I'd pictured. Tom stood up halfway through, swaying a bit, raising his bottle like he owned the night. To Nora's big day, he said, loud enough to hush the crowd. But let's be real, this success, Lily's the one who earned it. The words hit like a slap, cold and deliberate, no slur to soften them. My gut twisted, heat rushing up my neck. Lily, the artist, the dreamer, the one he'd co-signed loans for while I scraped by on ramen and grit. I'd waited my whole life for him to say proud, and he gave me this instead. Everyone froze, forks stilled, laughter choked off, Diane's eyes darting to the ground. I didn't scream. I raised my glass, calm, controlled, the kind of smile you flash at someone who's finally shown their cards. Great, I said, voice steady, cutting through the stunned air. Then she can cover your rent too. Not loud, not shrill, just clear. Tom blinked, beer bottle stalled mid-sip, like he'd misheard. 5, maybe 10 seconds stretched out, long enough to see Aunt Jen's jaw drop, the guitarist falter mid-chord, cousins gape. Some smirked, not mocking, but knowing. I set the glass down, met Tom's stare one last time, his gray eyes blank, unyielding, and walked out. No goodbyes, no fuss. The backyard chatter faded behind me, and as I hit the sidewalk, I knew. This wasn't their party anymore. It was my exit. The hum of my old Honda buzzed under me as I left the party, Portland's sodium lights streaking past like smears of regret. I didn't go home, couldn't face the quiet of my cramped studio, the echoes of Tom's toast still rattling in my skull. This success? Lily's the one who earned it. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white, and I drove west. No plan, just motion. Around midnight, the road spat me out at a coastal cliff, waves crashing below, a jagged edge where the city gave up. I killed the engine, rolled the windows down, let the salt air bite. Tom's words looped, relentless, and I started pulling the thread, years of half-buried proof unraveling in the dark. Lily earned it? What? Her art school stint, funded by Tom's co-signed loans, while I slung beers at 2 a.m. to dodge debt? I'd graduated engineering, top of my class, no help. Scholarships I hunted, tutoring gigs I bled for, shifts at the campus bar where I'd memorized orders through bleary eyes. Lily dropped out after a year, chasing some gallery dream that never bloomed, and Tom still called her talented. I'd landed a tech internship after 27 interviews, slept 4 hours a night to ace it. Where was her grind? The cliff's wind howled, matching the churn in my gut, and I saw it clear. This wasn't new. Growing up, Lily got the soft landings. Skipping curfew, forgiven. Flunking classes, she's finding herself. I'd mowed lawns at 15 to buy my own laptop, got a work harder grunt from Tom, while Lily's third wrecked canvas earned a proud nod. Junior year, I'd crashed home one weekend, exhausted, and spotted it. A tuition bill on the counter, Lily's name, paid in full, Tom's signature scrawled beside it. My stomach had dropped then, but I'd swallowed it. Told myself maybe they couldn't spare cash for me. Maybe I didn't ask right. Diane, Mom, had hovered in the kitchen, avoiding my eyes, muttering about tight budgets. I'd believed her, or wanted to, but that toast shattered the maybes. I'd paid for my degree. 5 brutal years, no loans, no safety net. While they bankrolled Lily's flops, Tom hadn't just ignored me. He'd erased me, hoisted her up like some prodigy I'd never match. Diane's silence at the party wasn't support. It was cowardice, letting him swing the axe. I'd spent my life chasing a nod from him. A good job, Nora. And he'd handed it to an empty chair instead. The ocean roared below, dark and endless, and I dug deeper. Lily's car repairs I'd driven her to, tax forms I'd sorted for Tom, Diane's printer I'd fixed, while they praised her latest sketch. I was the mule, the fixer, invisible unless they needed a hand. I whispered into the wind, "What did I do to deserve nothing?" The answer hit hard. Nothing. It wasn't about merit. Never was. Tom believed in Lily, not me, and Diane let him. That tuition bill wasn't a fluke, it was a choice. My success, my degree, my job, my spine, threatened their story, so they rewrote me out. The cliff stretched before me, vast and unyielding, and I felt it snap. The thread, the hope, the weight. They'd never see me, and I was done begging them to try. The coastal cliff's wind died down as dawn crept in, painting the ocean a bruised purple. I'd sat there all night, engine cold, unraveling Tom's toast. Lily earned it, and the years of bias it dragged into the light. My Portland studio waited, but I couldn't go back to that half-life, tethered to a family that didn't see me. I was 24, an engineer with a degree I'd forged alone, scholarships, bar shifts, sleepless nights, and I'd spent too long hoping they'd notice. That hope was a chain, and as the sun broke the horizon, I decided to snap it. Not with a fight, not with tears, just silence, sharp and final. Back home, my phone buzzed. Diane first, a timid, "Call me, honey." Then Aunt Jen's, "Tom didn't mean it." I didn't reply. I opened my laptop, listed my futon, my rickety table, my chipped mugs on Craigslist, everything I'd clung to from that old life. By noon, strangers hauled it away, cash stuffed in my pocket, enough to clear the last of my student loans and break the lease. I packed a duffel, clothes, laptop, diploma, and left the key with my landlord, a gruff guy who shrugged, "Good luck, kid." No goodbye notes, no forwarding address. Portland blurred behind me as I drove north, landing in Tacoma, a new city, a blank slate, my savings buying a 1-bedroom with peeling wallpaper, but a view of Puget Sound. Diane's letter came a week later, slipped under my door. Handwritten, shaky, ink smudged like she'd hesitated. "Nora, we're worried. Your family. Don't throw us away over one night. Lily's struggling too." I read it once, the plea dripping with her usual softness, the kind that never stood up to Tom's barbs. Lily struggling. On what? The rent he paid, the loans he co-signed? I'd bartended through finals, tutored hungover freshmen, while she sketched and flaked. Diane wanted peace, not justice. She'd watched me carry their weight and called it love. I shredded the letter, not out of spite, but survival. Replying would drag me back, and I was done. My phone kept lighting up. Tom's gruff, "Where are you?" ignored. Lily's rare, "Hey, call me," deleted. I muted them all, one by one. The family chat last. A relic of requests for rides or tech help. Never a, "How's Nora?" The quiet wasn't punishment. It was oxygen. I'd grown up fading into their margins, fixing printers, filing taxes, driving Lily to her 3rd failed gig, because disappearing was easier than demanding they care. But that cliff night flipped it. I didn't want to vanish anymore. I wanted out. Out of their script, their guilt, their need for a shadow to prop up Lily's light. In Tacoma, I unpacked my diploma, hung it above a thrift store desk, raw proof I'd built this alone. I landed a tech gig, small but steady, coding fixes for a startup that didn't ask about my past. Nights, I walked the sound, salt air clearing the static of their voices. I wasn't proving anything to them, just breathing, finally, for me. Diane's letter lingered in my trash, Lily's absence a faint echo, Tom's toast a fading bruise. I'd cut the ties, not to wound, but to stand. Taller, freer, mine. They'd feel the gap eventually, but I wouldn't fill it. Not anymore. 3 months into Tacoma, the past came knocking. Literally. I'd just kicked off my shoes after a late shift, the hum of my new life settling into the one-bedroom's cracked walls, when 3 hard raps jolted me upright. My diploma glinted above the desk, Puget Sound winking through the window, but that knock wasn't a neighbor's. I opened the door, and there was Tom. Flannel rumpled, gray hair wilder than at the party, IPA breath wafting in the hall. His eyes narrowed, like I'd stolen something. "Nora!" he grunted, no preamble. "You think you can just vanish? We're still family. You owe us better than this." My pulse spiked, but I didn't flinch. "Owe you?" I said, voice flat, leaning on the frame. "I paid my way. Degree, rent, everything. What do I owe?" He shifted, boots scuffing the mat. "Respect," he snapped. "Your mom's a mess. Lily's broke. Your little stunt at the party didn't help. We raised you." Raised me? On what? Scraps of attention while he bankrolled Lily's art flops? I'd found that co-signed loan stub in my memory, his signature bold next to her name, while I'd poured shots to dodge debt. "Lily's broke because you carried her," I said, calm, cold. "I'm not your ATM." His jaw tightened, a flicker of shock. He hadn't expected pushback, not from the fixer, the shadow. He stepped closer, voice dropping. "You're selfish, always were. Running off doesn't erase us." I held his stare, saw the man who'd toasted Lily over my degree, and shut the door. Not a slam, just a click, final as a lock turning. His muffled curse faded down the hall, boots stomping off, and I exhaled, steady. That night, my phone buzzed. 2:17 a.m. A text from Lily, first in years. "Nora, I'm in a hole. Rent's due. Can you spot me 500? Dad's tapped out." I stared at it, her words a neon sign of their game. Tom begging respect, Lily begging cash, Diane begging peace in that shredded letter. My thumb hovered, then deleted it. No reply, no lifeline. They'd built this mess. I wouldn't bail it out. The silence after was thick, not empty. Proof I'd cut the cord clean. Tom's visit wasn't a reckoning. It was a test, and I'd passed by not swinging back. Lily's text wasn't a plea. It was entitlement, the same kind that got her loans while I scraped by on tips. Diane's absence stung most. She hadn't come, hadn't called since the letter, too weak to face me without Tom's shadow. I'd grown up fixing their chaos, taxes, rides, printers, because they'd banked on my silence. That cliff night in Portland, I'd seen it. They didn't believe in me, just my utility. Now they'd lost both. I sat on my thrift store couch, Tacoma's quiet wrapping around me like a shield. The diploma overhead wasn't just a degree. It was armor, forged alone. Tom's grumble, Lily's whine. They didn't pierce it. I didn't owe them my voice, my cash, my guilt. Shutting that door, deleting that text, I stood firm. Not for them to see, but for me to feel. They'd come crawling when the well dried up, but I was done digging. Peace settled in, heavy and mine, a line drawn they couldn't cross. Tom's boots echoed away that night, and Lily's text vanished into the void. Tacoma's stillness swallowed them whole. I was 24, rooted in a one-bedroom overlooking Puget Sound. My diploma hung above a desk I'd sanded myself. 6 months after the party, I'd carved a life from scratch. Engineering job at a startup, steady, mine, no shadows to dodge. I'd sit by the window some evenings, coffee cooling, watching ferries cut the water, and feel it. Freedom, not loud, just deep. The grind, scholarships, bar shifts, late-night code, had built this, not them. I didn't need their claps anymore. The ache didn't vanish at first. I'd catch my reflection in the glass, brown hair loose, green eyes sharper now, and see the girl they'd overlooked. the one who'd fixed their messes while Lily got the gold star. My phone stayed quiet at first, then buzzed. Diane's, Nora, please talk. Ignored. Tom's, you'll regret this, unanswered. A coworker, Sam, caught me grinning over a project one day. You're killing it, he said, tossing me a soda. They're blind, I smirked. Their loss. Another time, a barista, Ellie, slipped me a note with my latte. You're badass. My sister bailed too. I wrote back, you've got this, and slid it under her tip. It wasn't just my win. My quiet rippled out, steady. Tom and Lily. Whispers trickled. Him griping at dive bars, her hawking half-done paintings online. No buyers. Diane mailed a card once. Lily's struggling, we miss you. But I let it sit unopened, then tossed it. They'd leaned on me too long. Tax help, car rides, Lily's endless loans. And when I stopped, they floundered. Sam overheard me mention it one night over beers. They broke you in, huh? He said. No pity. Just a nod. Made you tougher. He was right. I'd outgrown their frame. I reclaimed pieces they'd buried. Photography, old camera dusted off. Shots of sound sunsets pinned to my wall. Baking. Sourdough loaves rising on Sundays. No performance, just joy. My apartment filled slow. Thrifted shelves, mismatched mugs, a life I liked touching. Sam dragged me to trivia nights, his easy laugh pulling me in. Elise, a coder I met at a meetup, stayed for coffee after, her dry wit a match for mine. They didn't know the Portland Nora, the mule, the shadow, just this one, whole. You're solid, Elise said once over takeout. No baggage. I grinned, left it behind. One Sunday, a year out, I was hauling groceries, bread, cheese, a bottle of red, when a car idled across the street. Diane's, dented, tired. She stood by my building, clutching a folded paper, eyes scanning like she'd lost me twice. I stopped, bags heavy, breath even. She saw me, mouth parting, but I walked past. Slow, calm, no nod. Her Nora faded as I climbed the stairs. Elise was inside, flipping records, barefoot, grinning when I handed her the wine. Trouble? She asked, clocking my face. Nah, I said, kissing her cheek. Old noise. It didn't follow me in. The diploma hangs there now, simple frame, no spotlight, just proof I stood when they didn't. My phone buzzes sometimes. Tom's rants, Diane's pleas, Lily's need $200, sis. But I don't answer. Not spite, just peace. I built this. Job, home, Sam's trivia bets, Elise's quiet presence, because I believed I deserved it. Not their version, mine. That girl they dimmed? She's here, loud in her silence, living a story they can't rewrite. I sip coffee, sound glinting outside, and know, I'm home, not theirs, mine.